Hello and welcome to Coffee with Ceri. I'm Ceri Griffiths. Some of you know me as Ceri the Crafter, and this is a cup of coffee. Now, if you've not joined me before for one of these, basically I sit down with a cup of coffee and I talk for about 15-20 minutes about a subject that's caught my attention. Absolutely my own personal views, no one else's. I'm not siding with anyone, I'm not against anyone. I just think that maybe the topic I've picked is one where just trying to raise awareness, maybe start a conversation, something like that. Oh, that was hot. Note to self, blow on coffee before you drink it. So in this month's conversation, I thought, right, let's talk about children's education. And one thing that I think is lacking now, okay, before we say anything, I have no children, I have no grandchildren, I just am observing what I see around me. And I think there's a hole in the education system that I actually wasn't a hole in the education system when I went through. Now, I think the basic life skills are not being taught to children. End of story. Some of you will say, oh, that's the parents' job. Some would also argue that maybe the parents weren't taught either, and this is a generational thing that's being handed down. Now, what I'm talking about is when I went through school, towards the end of my schooling, we had things where I was taught to do some basic sewing, like I sewed a patch onto a pair of trousers, I sewed a button on, I sewed a hook and eye. I also was taught to iron a shirt, iron a pair of trousers. I was also given a couple of cookery classes where I learnt the basics of cooking. I mean, then on top of that, you had basically, well, you wouldn't do it nowadays, but we had to balance a checkbook. We were taught how to budget for things. And I think all of this is gone now. I think we are focused so much on academia or academic skills that we're forgetting that that's not all there is to life. We need to prepare children to go out there as young adults and actually learn to live their lives independently. I think that we're now within a culture, and I speak purely from my own point of view, and I'm only speaking for those that I know of here in Britain, not necessarily around the world because I don't know other cultures. However, children nowadays are growing up to want something, want it now, and not even consider that there's a payment due. Or if they do it, when I was being brought up, let's say, if I wanted to buy a toy, I would save my pocket money up and I would buy the toy. Nowadays, someone will grab a credit card, they'll pay for it and say, oh, we'll pay that off bit by bit. But they don't. It just adds and adds and adds to the debt. I also find that a lot of the foodstuffs you see in supermarkets and grocery stores nowadays are geared up for those who arguably don't have time to cook or don't know how to cook. I mean, seriously, who needs frozen mashed potato? Besides which, if you're working on a budget, you could probably buy an entire sack of potatoes, a small sack, mind you, for the price you're paying for maybe that one pot of frozen mashed potato. I mean, since when can we not peel and chop an onion? I mean, you can buy frozen chopped onion. You can buy frozen crepes or pancakes. You can buy a bottle of omelette mix that you just pour in. I mean, seriously, people. And I think it all harkens back to the fact that adults have become so very, very busy now. We all have at least one job. I mean, I've got three. So, I mean, you've got people holding down numerous jobs, very tight schedules, and I understand that a convenience food is something you need to grab for occasionally. However, I think what's missing is we've got to the point now we're so busy being busy that we're forgetting life skills, and we're forgetting that when I was raised, a part of a one-parent family, there was my sister who's 4 years younger than me, there was myself and my mother. My mother had to hold down two jobs, so basically the cooking fell to me, and the cleaning and some of the shopping as well. So I, from a very young age, would be in the kitchen with mum and she would show me, she'd go, okay, this is how you make toast. This is how you boil an egg. This is you do scrambled egg. This is how you'll fry bacon. This is how you'll fry chips, because in the French fries for my Americans, we used to have a fryer back then. Scares the heck out of me thinking about what we did with it then. It was a big pan you filled with oil, you brought it to the boil, and you put food in to fry it. Good grief, our arteries must have been solid. But all of those skills were learnt from your parent. And I think the parents are now so busy that they just don't have time to pass on life skills. I mean, I remember the time when there was a father on the scene. I was about 8 or 9, and he was a mechanic. So I used to be in the garage with him, and he tried to show me how to work on a car. A big waste of time. That's not how my brain was wired. I was a big disappointment as far as the mechanics go. It didn't make sense to me. I just didn't do it. But he was trying to pass on skills. And I sometimes think now, a lot of countries, the children go to school before school. So they go to preschool school. Like they go earlier in the morning to like a breakfast type pre-club sort of thing. They'll spend a day in school, and then there'll be an after-school club waiting for the parents to finish work and come home, by which time the parents, all they want to do is get the kids in, fed, showered and put to bed. So I think we're missing something, and I do think that it shouldn't just be down to the adults to do it. I really do think the basics should be taught in school again. I mean, I don't see why they're not. I mean, we're so focused on so many different topics, and life skills, I do feel personally, are lacking. And I really do think we need to address those at some point. Just common sense. I mean, I was told how to change the fuse in a plug. Now, I don't think there are fuses in plugs anymore. There may be, but I think they're actually built into the plug. I can change a light bulb. Can everybody change a light bulb? I mean, it's those life skills. So anyway, I don't mean to be harking on about it, but it's one of those things I just worry about. We're becoming so reliant on instant gratification for I want it, I get it now. We've got no time for family time. Like, okay, this is slightly off topic now. Here in the UK, we now have Sunday shopping. Our shops are allowed to open on Sunday. They've been allowed to open on Sunday for years and years and years. Although when I was growing up, Sunday was closed. The only shop that was open was like the corner shop, which sold papers, cigarettes, probably bread, milk and crisps and some chocolate. And that was the corner shop. And on Sunday, that was the only place you could get stuff. And Sunday for me was all about family. I mean, not that I understood it intentionally, but that was the day when no one was working. We had a good sit down around the dining room table and had a good roast Sunday lunch. In the afternoon, we sat down and mum or myself would make a cake or biscuits or cookies or something, or there'd be a trifle, or we'd have some little sandwiches and things like that, and that would be the afternoon. In the afternoon, we'd watch a movie. There used to be a Sunday movie on every time, usually about 3 o'clock-ish, sit down for a movie. And in the evening, the adults usually fell asleep on the sofa, and we read a book, played a game, or just did stuff. And I think we're missing that. I really do. And I personally don't see the reason why we're opening our shops on Sunday. You can shop 24/7 online. You can get click and collect deliveries of food whenever you want. The shop opening hours, some of the shops in my city centre, they're open at 8:30 in the morning through till 10 o'clock at night. Most large grocery supermarkets are also open. I don't see why they're open. So anyway, that's another minor sidetrack on another gripe of mine. But my main point was that I do feel children are missing out on life skills, and there's no one ever going to watch this who's going to have the power to change that. But maybe as parents, or even grandparents, maybe, I don't know, maybe spend some time with the kids, maybe spend time with the grandkids and go, you know what, today I'm going to teach you how to boil an egg. Today I'm going to do the laundry, why don't you join me? Just play a game where, like, you have to budget for something, or there are things out there, guys. I do feel that we're really not doing justice to our children's education. So sorry about that, but I do think it's something that's lacking. I mean, I'm none the worse for it. I'm purely independent. I can cook, I can clean, I can iron, I can sew, I can work a budget, I can, well, I run a business. I mean, they're all skills that started somewhere, and they must have started in school and with my parents. So I won't hark on about that. As I said, this was just a little quick coffee. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Have a think. If you feel the same, then maybe do your little bit about it. I mean, I have no children or grandchildren around me to actually influence or help or guide. I do have a godson. I do have friends who have children. And when I go and visit those people, I always make sure that we turn the TV off, or we take the technology away from them, and we sit down and we'll play a card game maybe, or we'll play a board game, or we will do something that inadvertently are adding life skills. Or, as you know, I'm an artist and a crafter. I will sometimes turn up, I go, okay guys, today we're going to sew some button clusters because I need to make button clusters for my journaling. So the kids get a needle and a thread and a scissors, and obviously I'm observing how they're using the scissors. I'm like, okay, let's stitch some stuff together. Let's make something. So it's all about using their hands and their brain instead of these two thumbs on an electronic device. So, okay, that's enough from me. I'm going to call it quits on this one. Thank you for joining me, guys, and I will stop by for a chat next month. Bye-bye now.